Hello students, I am your teacher Piyusha Misra and I have brought some important questions with their answers along with some short and long answer type questions. Let us start with the extracts. First extract. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of it. Question is, what is the main concern of the poem? Answer, the main concern of the poem is destruction of the world by changing attitude of mankind. Next question, why should it perish twice? Answer, it should perish twice because of the growing rage and hatred among mankind. Next question, what does the word perish mean? Answer, the word perish means die. Next question, what does the poet know of hate? Answer, the poet knows that hate could be as destructive as rage and desire. Next extract, to say that of destruction eyes is also great and would suffice. Question, whose destruction is the poet talking about? The poet is talking about the destruction of the world. Next question, why is ice great for destruction? Answer, ice is great for the destruction of the world because coldness in mankind brings about discord among fellow beings. Next question, what does ice symbolize? Answer, the ice symbolizes coldness, hatred and indifference. Next question, what does word suffice mean? Answer, the word suffice means to be sufficient. Next extract, he should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the blaze. Question is, who is he here? Answer, he is referred to the tiger in the zoo. Next question, what is he supposed to do? Answer, he is supposed to make a warning sound of his arrival and terrorize the people in the village. Next question, what do you infer from this destruction? Answer, he is being compared to a tiger in its habitat. The poet infers the loss of adaptation in a tiger kept in a zoo. Next question, give the meaning of the word snarling. Answer, the word snarling means making angry sound. Next extract, he hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Question, about who is the description? Answer, the description is about a tiger in a zoo. Next question, why does he hear the noise in the city? Answer, he hears the noise in the city because he has been kept in the zoo in the city. Next question, why does the poet repeat the word brilliant in these lines? Answer, to emphasize on the natural beauty and the individual characteristics of a tiger. Next question, what is the meaning of patrolling? The word patrolling means guarding. Next poem, How to Tell Wild Animals by Carolyn Wells. Or if sometime when roaming round, a noble wild beast greets you, with black stripes on a yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. First question, which wild beast does the poet describe here? Answer: the Royal Bengal tiger. Next question. How do we identify the beast? Answer: we identify the beast with its black stripes on a yellow skin and its ferocious looks. Next question. What to notice in the beast? Answer: we should notice in the beast that it doesn't eat us. Next question. What is the meaning of discern? Answer: the meaning of discern is to identify. Next extract. A lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there is nothing on the tree, 'tis the chameleon you see. Question is, what is the description about? Answer: the description is about a chameleon. Next question. How do we identify a chameleon? Answer is, it does not have ears or wings and it takes the color of the object on which it lies. Next question. What does the poet imply by if there is nothing on the tree? Answer: he means the camouflage a chameleon is adapted to due to which it takes the color of the place surroundings in which it is. Next question. Identify the contrasting ideas in these lines. Answer: if there is nothing, 'tis the chameleon you see. Next poem is The Ball Poem by John Berryman. An ultimate shaken grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor. Question. Where is the boy standing? Why? Answer is, the boy is standing near the harbor to look for his lost ball. Next question. Why does the poet use the expression ultimate shaking grief? Answer. For a child, the loss of a ball is the greatest grief in life. Next question. What is the meaning of grief? Answer. The meaning of grief is sad. Next question. Write the antonym of rigid. Answer. The antonym of rigid is flexible. Next extract. Money is external. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. The epistemology of loss. How to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. Question is, what does the boy learn? Answer. The boy learned that things get lost, the grief of loss would be very deep, and that one has to accept it. Next question. Why are his eyes desperate? Answer. His eyes are desperate because his ball is lost forever. Next question. Explain the epistemology of loss. How to stand up. Answer. Understanding the nature of loss, what it means to lose a thing much loved and how to overcome the loss. Next question. What is the meaning of the word desperate? Answer. The meaning of the word desperate is hopeless. Let us move to fiction extracts. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respect before the inauguration. Who is I here? Answer. The I here refers to Nelson Mandela. Where is this extract taken from? Answer. This extract is taken from Autobiography of Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Next question. Why has the speaker been besieged by dignitaries and world leaders? Answer. He has been besieged because he has become the first black president of South Africa. Next question. What inauguration he is talking about? Answer. He is talking about the inauguration ceremony where he took an oath as the president. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the seat of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic, non-racial government. Next question. What does this refer to? Answer. This refers to the Union buildings in Pretoria. Question. Why does the speaker call it a site of a rainbow gathering? Answer. The speaker calls it a site of a rainbow gathering because the gathering consisted of the blacks, whites, and the colored of South Africa as well as the dignitaries from across the world. Next question. What is the historical importance of the occasion? It was the oath-taking ceremony of Mandela as the president. Question. What does the speaker mean when he says installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government? Answer. He means the establishment of democracy in South Africa with Mandela as the first black president after 3 centuries of white rule. Now, answer the following questions in 30 to 40 words. Question. Why did the seagull's father and mother threaten him and cajole him to fly? Answer. The young seagull was afraid to fly even when it saw its brothers and sisters flying and its parents helping and teaching them. It could not gather enough courage to make that first flight. That is why its father and mother were calling to it shrilly and scolding it. They threatened to let it starve on its ledge if it did not fly. They did so because they wanted it to leave its fear behind and learn to fly. Next question. What made the woman in the control center look at the narrator strangely? Answer. The woman in the control room was surprised when the narrator asked about the other airplane and its pilot. She said that there was no airplane seen on the radar. Next question. Why does Anne want to keep a diary? Answer. Anne wants to keep a diary as she didn't have friends. Next question. Why does Anne provide a brief sketch of her life? Answer. Anne provides a brief sketch of her life since no one would understand a bird of her musings if she were to jump right in. Next question. What made Mr. Keesing allow Anne to talk in class? Answer. Anne was able to justify her talkative nature every time. She was punished by Mr. Keesing on 3 occasions. As punishment, he gave her topics to write essays on. However, on each occasion, he was impressed by the manner in which she presented her arguments. Finally, Mr. Keesing accepted the fact that Anne would always be that way. Hence, she was allowed to talk in class. Next question. Why does Mrs. Pumphrey think the dog's recovery is a triumph of surgery? Answer. Mrs. Pumphrey thought that the dog's recovery was a triumph of surgery because in 2 weeks Tricky had recovered completely and had been transformed into a hard-muscled animal. When Tricky saw her, It leaped into her lap and licked her face. She was so excited that tears started rolling out of her eyes. She declared Tricky's recovery as a triumph of surgery to express her happiness and gratitude towards the doctor. Next question. What does the thief say about the different reactions of people when they are robbed? Answer. In his short career as a thief, he had made a study of men's faces when they lost their goods. He said that the greedy showed fear, the rich man showed anger, and the poor man showed acceptance. Next question. Why does not Anil hand the thief over to the police? Do you think most people would have done so? In what ways is Anil different from such employers? Answer. Anil does not hand the thief over to the police because he has put the money back at its place. It shows that he realized his fault. He wants to make amends for his ways. He must have felt guilty with himself. Anil wants to give him one more chance and therefore forgives him. No, in today's world, most people would have done so, although it must be done, but such sort of patience and compassion are rarely found nowadays in this human world. Next question. How does Oswald say he got in? Answer. Oswald said that he thought Max had got into the room through the balcony. He said that it was the second time in a month that somebody had got into his room this way. Next question. Who is Fowler and what is his first authentic thrill of the day? Answer. Fowler was a writer and he had come to meet Oswald. Fowler's first authentic thrill of the day came when he saw a man in Oswald's room pointing a pistol towards Oswald and himself. Question. How had Max got in? Answer. Max had got into the room with a pass key or a master key. Next question. Why does Horace Denby steal every year? Answer. He stole every year so that he could buy the rare and expensive books that he loved to collect. Each year he planned carefully, stole enough to last 12 months, and secretly bought the books to stock through an agent. Next question. Who is the real culprit in the story? Answer. The real culprit was the woman who pretended to be a member of the family living at Shotover Grange. She tricked Horace into believing her and cleverly took away all the jewels that were kept in the safe. Next question. How did the invisible man first become visible? Answer is. How did the invisible man first become visible? Answer. Griffin was completely invisible until he happened to step in some mud which caused him to leave footprints as he walked. His footprints were seen by two boys who followed him as long as the prints were visible. On getting rid of them, he went into a big London store to put on some warm clothes. After the store was shut, he got dressed up, putting on shoes, an overcoat, and a wide brimmed hat. This made him visible to the people who came to work at the store the next day. Next question. How would you assess Griffin as a scientist? Answer. After repeated experiments, Griffin had discovered how to make the human body transparent. This was a big achievement. However, he missed his discovery for personal gains and for hurting others. Thus, though he can be termed as a brilliant scientist, he was not a noble one. Now answer the following questions in 100 to 120 words. Question first. Positive attitude in life can make the world a better place to live in. Do you agree or disagree with reference to the poem Dust of Snow? Express your views, bringing out the inherent values. Answer. I completely agree with the statement that positive attitude can make the world a better place to live in. Robert Frost, in Dust of Snow, talks of how an otherwise bad day altered into a not so bad one due to the action of a crow. It was seemingly disconnected occurrence that thought about a change of mood in the poet. One lesson that can be learned from the poem is to see the brightness amidst the gloom. The crow, the hemlock, and the snow are all dark images, and yet the poet sees the color of happiness. Another lesson is that life is made up of small joys. It is through them that one can always imagine to see positivity in negativity. Next question is, the sight of the food maddened him. What does this suggest? What compelled the young seagull to finally fly? Answer. The young seagull was very hungry. It was his hunger that ultimately compelled it to fly. Its hunger only intensified when it saw its mother tearing a piece of fish that lay at her feet. It cried to her, begging her to get some food. When its mother came towards it with food in her beak, it screamed with joy and anticipation. However, she stopped midway. It wondered why she did not come nearer. Not being able to resist or control its hunger any longer, it dived at the food in its mother's beak. At that moment, his hunger overpowered his fear of the great expanse of sea beneath the cliff. Finally, this plunge was followed by the natural reaction of its body to fly. Next question. Describe the narrator's experience as he flew the airplane into the storm. Answer. As he flew into the storm, everything went black. It was impossible to see anything outside the plane. It jumped and twisted in the air. When he looked at his compass, he saw that it was turning round and round. It was dead. Along with it, the other instruments, including the radio, were also dead. Suddenly, he saw another airplane. Its pilot waved at him, asking him to follow. He was glad to find a helper. He was using his last fuel tank, and there was only enough fuel to fly 5 or 10 minutes. Then the other pilot started to go down and he followed. He suddenly came out of the clouds and saw the runway on which he then landed his plane safely. Next question. Anne says teachers are most unpredictable. Is Mr. Kissing unpredictable? How? Answer. Anne felt that a quarter of her class was dumb and should be kept back, not promoted to Mr. Kissing, could be deemed as unpredictable. The way Anne always talked while the class was going on, any teacher would lose his temper. However, after several warnings, All Mr. Kissing did was assign her extra homework. She had to write an essay on a chatterbox. In this way, he tried to play a joke on her. Each time that he asked her to write such essays, she wrote very well. She kept countering his jokes. One could not have predicted that he would take all jokes in the right spirit. Finally, when she wrote an entire essay in verse, he accepted her talkative nature and actually allowed her to talk in class. He did not even assign her any more extra homework. That is why it can be said that Mr. Kissing was unpredictable. Next question. Why does Maddie stand by and not do anything? How is she different from Peggy? Was Peggy's friend important to Maddie? Why? Which line in the text tell you this? Answer. Maddie always stood by and never did anything as she was afraid that if she did, she would be the next target of the children. She herself was poor and therefore felt that if she spoke against the others, they would target her next. Unlike her, Peggy was a rich girl. This was also the reason why Maddie could think from Vanda's point of view, but Peggy could not. Maddie was Peggy's best friend. It seemed as if she was in awe of Peggy. She admired her quite a lot as she said that she drew better than anyone else. She did not have the courage to go against her. Some of the lines from the text which show that Peggy's friendship was important to Maddie's are as follows. First, Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Next, she was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole class. Next, Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. Next, oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Next question. How is Oswald different from other secret agents? Answer. Oswald was different from other secret agents in more ways than one. He had a small room in the musty corridor of a gloomy French hotel. It was on the sixth and top floor, and it was scarcely the setting for a romantic adventure. He was extremely fat. In spite of living in Paris for over 20 years, he spoke French and German only passably, had an American accent. Instead of getting messages slipped into his hands by dark-eyed beauties, he got only telephone call making an appointment. In these ways, he was different from the conventional notion of a spy. Next question. Horace Danby was a meticulous planner, but still he faltered. Where did he go wrong and why? Answer. Horace Danby failed to get enough information of the house. He seems to be too occupied with collecting information about house map, wiring and location of valuable things. Although he was smart enough to know the dog's actual name, but overlooked getting identity of each and every occupant of the house. Once he was in problem, then probably his clever mind gave way to carelessness, leading him to open the safe without wearing gloves. Next question. What other extraordinary things happened at the inn? Answer. The landlord and his wife were surprised to see the scientist's door open. Usually it is shut and locked, and he becomes furious if anybody enters his room. The opportunity seems too good to be missed. They peep round the door, see nobody, and decided to investigate. The wet clothes were cold, showing that the scientist must have been up for some time. All of a sudden, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear. A moment later, the hat on the bedpost leaped up and dashed itself into her face. Then the bedroom chair became alive. Springing into the air, it charged straight at her, legs foremost. As she and her husband turned away in terror, the extraordinary chair pushed them both out of the room and then appeared to slam and lock the door after them. Mrs. Hall almost fell down the stairs in hysterics. She was convinced that the room was haunted by spirits and the stranger had somehow caused these to enter into the furniture. Thank you. See you after some time.